Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Aquarius September 2018 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, first thing up is as far as September goes, the Sun will be in Virgo from the 1st until the 22nd. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, there could be a strong concentration of energy, focus, and attention on transformation, regeneration, rebirth, emotional and moral support, even monetary support. Some cases, astrology, the occult, supernatural, even insurance, taxes, inheritance, and things connected with psychology. Given this is Virgo energy, this could be done with a lot of Virgo-like meticulous attention to detail, very methodical, systematic, and organized manner, done very perfunctorily, but could be done with a lot of critical and judgmental energy as well, especially in matters perhaps connected with people you may be in an intimate or sexual relationship with, it could be in a shared resources situation. Now, and also this could be done perhaps in a very worrisome and pensive manner as well. And anyway, next thing up is the Sun will be in Libra as far as September goes, from the 22nd until the 30th. So the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, there could be a strong concentration of energy, attention, and focus perhaps on in-laws, grandchildren, philosophy, religion, higher education, abstract thinking, traveling abroad, global communications, the law even, publishing, and perhaps humor even. Now, given this is Libra energy, this could be done with a lot of Libra-like balance, weighing the pros and cons, done in a very equitable, fair manner, and with a lot of tact and diplomacy, but maybe done with a lot of indecision and ambivalence as well, and bouncing ideas off others, and a lot of fair-mindedness as well, and especially in matters perhaps pertaining to in-laws, to grandchildren, and even matters connected with the law. So anyway, well, the next thing up is there will be a new moon in Virgo on September 9th. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, you might, in some cases, this could be the beginning or initiating some kind of project, maybe with analytical psychology or even analytical psychology, maybe analyzing things on a psychologically at this time. You may begin or embark on, actually, if you're unattached, a new, perhaps a new sexual or intimate relationship. It could be with a Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply one that embodies Virgo-like characteristics. Could it be, in some cases, perhaps a new healthy transformation? It could be a detox period. It could be a period where you may start working out vigorously to make that major transformation in yourself. It could be a time where you may begin to analyze yourself psychologically, and also perhaps giving very detail-oriented emotional support or moral support to others. It could even be very frugal, like monetary support in some cases, or maybe some kind of or something that is connected with insurance you may embark on at this time, and of course really discerning all those details. And wanting perhaps your life, maybe a new period where you want your legacy to be one where you're seen as very analytical, intellectual, and perhaps detail-oriented. Anyway, next thing up, there will be a full moon in Aries on September 24th, so the 3rd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, you may become somewhat tired, exasperated, full. Sorry, people. You may become somewhat tired, exasperated, or full at perhaps an acrimonious, combative, acerbic sibling, cousin, or neighbor at this time. In some cases, this could reflect a completion or culmination of some Aries-like communication or writing. It could be the end, perhaps, of a contentious or acrimonious communication with someone, or it could simply be where you ended some kind of writing that might have been Aries-like and might be something connected with sports writing or something with firefighting, welding, maybe something of a combative nature, something connected with the military. And also in some cases, the full moon can be about a revelation or unveiling of sorts. In this case, perhaps it could be the revelation or unveiling of an overly egocentric, self-centered, overly combative, perhaps a cousin, a neighbor, a sibling. It could be one that might have some kind of anger issues, perhaps, or maybe someone from your early childhood, perhaps. So anyway. Well, the next thing up is Mercury will be in Leo as far as September goes from the 1st until the 6th. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, you may be a conversation dominator with others in general at this time, or perhaps the grandmother or even a significant other. It could be a time where you might start just generally boasting and bragging about conquering open adversaries or legal opponents, or if you had already done so, you may do it. I would guard against maybe doing that beforehand, because, you know, sometimes people can eat their words. When they be, you know, something about when people become too overconfident and self-assured, you know, self-assured about something, you know, before it actually transpires. Sometimes it can come back on them. But anyway, this could be a lot of creative thinking, where you're collaborating with others on something very creative as far as thinking goes. It could be also thinking generously regarding legal matters, and maybe thinking about having to be maybe a little extravagant in those matters. And remember, as I've stated in previous videos, that Mercury can also be about siblings. It's not just about communication. So it could be in this case that perhaps Leo siblings may figure prominently in terms of legal situations and maybe even partnership situations in your relationships in general. They could be Leo, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Leo-like characteristics. Anyway. Next thing up is Mercury will be in Virgo as far as September goes, from the 6th until the 22nd. So the 8th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, this could manifest perhaps in very detail-oriented, analytical communications within someone you're in an intimate or sexual relationship with, or a shared resources situation with. You might be doing a lot of worrisome and pensive thinking regarding shared resources, taxes, even insurance matters at this time. But it could also be a lot of analytical, detail-oriented writing in some 8th house venues such as astrology, the occult, supernatural, or psychology even. In some cases, this could be about, as I've stated before, that Mercury can also be about siblings. This could be where Virgo siblings may factor in strongly, perhaps in moral, emotional support, your shared resources, and unfortunately, maybe even crisis, but they might figure in a beneficial way in that, though. And they could be Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Virgo-like characteristics. Anyway. Next thing up is Mercury will be in Libra as far as September goes, from the 22nd until the 30th. So the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, you might find yourself speaking with a lot of tact and diplomacy with in-laws, grandchildren, foreigners, even people you may be involved in at a religious congregation. You may see yourself having more conversations with these people over legal matters at this time, but you might be really experiencing a lot of ambivalence and indecision in 9th house matters, such as traveling abroad or even publishing, or matters perhaps connected with a religious group or congregation, with in-laws, with grandchildren at this time. It could also be about weighing pros and cons over some philosophy or maybe over something connected with publishing. And also, to again, that Mercury can also be about siblings. So this could be a time where Libra siblings might figure very prominently in perhaps in some kind of philosophy you have, maybe religion, or perhaps even something over publishing or traveling abroad at this time. They could be Libra Sun, Moon, Ascendant people, or they may simply embody Libra-like characteristics. And they might be more encouraging of you at this time to maybe go outside the box, so to speak, because the ninth house also is connected with abstract thinking. So anyway, next thing up is Venus will be in Libra as far as September goes, from the 1st until the 9th. So the ninth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, this could be a period where you may strongly value peace, tact, diplomacy, and refinement in your career with matters with authority figures and the dominant parent, which is often the father. You might find out where you're balancing maybe balance spending, perhaps to improve notoriety, social status, your stature in life, perhaps. And also you might at this time, if you are unattached, Aquarius, you might connect with a Libra, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person that might help you improve your social status, your recognition, notoriety, and figure strong in career matters. It could be a Libra, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Libra-like characteristics. It could also manifest perhaps in putting a lot more value. It really, at this time, this is a time too. I got to retract, because the Venus in Libra in 9th house, that's actually not career and notoriety status. I got to rewind. I'm sorry about that, people. But this could be about valuing your peace, tact, diplomacy, perhaps with in-laws and grandchildren. It could also be where you might connect with a Libra, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person that you might encounter through traveling abroad, or it could simply be someone that embodies Libra-like characteristics, or someone you meet at a religious congregation. It could also be about balanced spending in connection with traveling, with publishing, with religion at this time. So anyway, and also maybe perhaps money might come, what you think is a fair amount of money, through something that was published. Now we're going to get to something that's emphasizing the 10th house. I'm sorry about that, people. Next thing up, Venus will be in Scorpio as far as September goes, from the 9th until the 30th. So the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time for Aquarius. This could be a lot of secretive private spending, perhaps to improve notoriety and recognition. It could be where you find yourself valuing power and control in an authority position. If you are unattached, Aquarius, you might connect with a Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply one that embodies Scorpio-like characteristics that could figure prominently in improving your stature in life, your social status, giving you notoriety, and perhaps in your career one way or another. You might find yourself enjoying Scorpio-like games, such as something like a CSI board game, or some mystery game, a Sherlock Holmes type game, or doing something that's enjoyable, Scorpio, like something with astrology, the occult, supernatural, Ouija board, perhaps in doing so with a dominant parent or an authority figure, or someone that you might know well, that is connected with your career. And also this could manifest perhaps in valuing as far as penetrating subterfuge and superficiality with authority figures, with the dominant parent, and with people perhaps prominent in your career, or somebody that you feel has maybe played a role one way or another in your public image and reputation. Anyway, next thing up is, well, Mars will be in Capricorn as far as September goes, from the 1st until the 10th. So the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. This could manifest perhaps in very regimented, consistent, disciplined energy in private matters, in solitude and seclusion. This could also result, perhaps there might be arguments with aunts and uncles over responsibilities, politics, government, over things connected with authority. You might find yourself at this time more so than usual having more diminished vitality and energy at this time. It could be more, it could be a lot of consistent energy, being in methodical energy, going into matters, helping people that are less fortunate than yourself, such as the oppressed, the homeless, the hungry, and the impoverished. So, anyway, in the situation with people prominent in your private life might be more contentious and acrimonious than usual at this time. And this is about time where you might show a lot of more courage and very consistently trying to combat hidden adversaries, people that might be posing as friends that really aren't, and having the courage and fortitude to try to weed them out, so to speak, those people. So anyway, next thing up is Mars will be in Aquarius as far as September goes, from the 10th until the 30th. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, this might be a time where perhaps you might come across as a little bit more aggressive and acrimonious than usual. You might have a little bit more propensity to some kind of accents. They might be ones of unusual nature. Make sure, you watch your hand, your arm when you're trying to pull something out of a vending machine or what have you at this time. But anyway, this could be a time where you might, where the situation, maybe someone from your early childhood might be more contentious than usual. You might become angry at this person or people connected with that over maybe some kind of idiosyncratic, bizarre, or unusual behavior. You might come across on a first impression as a little bit more acerbic and outspoken, and it might be where you might be showing more to others very readily, more spontaneous, extemporaneous type anger at this time. And also, though, at the same time, this could be a very good time to put a lot of energy, have more vitality and energy than usual at this time, likely, and may put this energy into something Aquarius-like, such as innovation, electronics, computers, something aerospace, astrology. So anyway, next thing up is Jupiter will be in Scorpio. So the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, at this time for Aquarius, this could, as I've talked about previously regarding Jupiter, it can be somewhat paradoxical. It's very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. In some cases, this could expand perhaps surreptitious, nefarious, even mischievous behavior, perhaps from the dominant parent, which is often the father. It could do so with people prominent in your career and even authority figures. On a positive side, though, this could give a lot of luck and fortune through making a major transformation or change in your career, or even very fortuitous, perhaps through doing something Scorpio-like in your career, such as something with locksmithing, astrology, psychology, occult, supernatural subjects. It could be forensics, some kind of investigation, embalming. And also, too, this could be a lucky period for going beyond subterfuge and superficiality with 10th house type people, such as the dominant parent, authority figures, people prominent in your career, and even those that might have played some kind of role in your public image or reputation and stature in life. And it could be a time, too, where you might develop a very profound and deep philosophy connected, that's tied in with really your stature in life and where you want to be in a relationship to others. Maybe perhaps it goes more deeper than just simply being somebody that has a great career in making great money, for example. So anyway, Next thing up is Saturn will be in Capricorn. The 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, well, it might be a period where you might be a little bit more introverted and introspective than usual. I actually have Saturn in my 12th house natally, and I think that's a lot of that's attributed to why I really so much into solitude and seclusion. Now, this could be a time, too, where your sorrows might be dealt with very secretly, privately, in solitude and seclusion. It could be a time, too, where you can be able to discard what is frivolous and the things that are really not that important in your life, things that you might see as restrictions and things that are limiting. Now, in some cases, this can manifest perhaps in taking care of a sickly or debilitated aunt or uncle or somebody that might be less fortunate than you. It might be, it could be something Capricorn related. It could be something connected with the knees, the bones, or the joints. Some cases, this can manifest in working laboriously in solitude and seclusion. It could be something government related. So anyway, well, the next thing up is Uranus will be in Taurus still. So the 4th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. At this time, well, this can manifest perhaps in unusual values connected with the family. In some cases, this could be about the formulation of ingenious money-making ideas with one close to home. Taurus friendships may figure prominently in perhaps foundations at this time, and you might feel more close to home with them than usual. They could be and might figure more prominently in your home life. Now, this could be also too, I mean, they could be Taurus, Sun, Moon, Ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Taurus-like characteristics. You might find that very persistent, loyal, and steadfast friends factor into your foundations and your emotional security more so than usual. And you might find yourself more unusual persistence in getting to the roots, getting to your roots and ancestry at this time. Another way this can manifest, though, some cases this could be about unusual, stubborn, obstinate behavior from a family member, someone prominent in your home life, or someone you feel close to home with. Hold on a second, people. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. Next thing up is, well, Neptune will be in Pisces still, so the 2nd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, this could be about dealing with some kind of, some cases it could be self-deception regarding monetary matters. It could be in some cases where you might be more susceptible to some kind of financial fraud at this time. It might be, too, that sadly be careful not to put too much value in drugs or alcohol at this time. And also, there may be more chaos and confusion regarding your possessions and resources than usual. But on a positive side, now, you might find that you may be able to generate income through something Neptune-like, such as poetry, dancing, chemistry, the metaphysical, which could include astrology, pharmaceutical work, something that could be special effects, something connected with illusions, such as working as a magician, something that could be Neptune like at this time, and also too, this could be about, sadly, the dissipation or dissolving of one's self-esteem at this time in self-worth. So I would be careful as far as that goes. And also too, where I mean, you might feel, more like with this Neptune energy, you feel more like relaxing as opposed to maybe actually generating income. And especially if there's other things in the chart that reaffirm this. If there's something where, well, what I'm talking about is, it depends on the aspects this makes to planets. A lot of it does. Let's say if this Neptune transit makes an adverse aspect to your natal Mars or even your Sun, or even the Ascendant, this could be something where you might have more diminished vitality and you'll feel more lethargic as opposed to actually trying to take action on money-making ventures. So anyway, Next thing up is Pluto will still be in Capricorn, so the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, in some cases, I'd be careful, Aquarius, because they're talking about the 12th house of mental illness. Pluto can be connected with things of an obsessive and compulsive nature, so you understand what I'm saying. Just be careful of maybe, some kind of obsessive or compulsive issue at this time. And also, too, that trying to be overly powerful in some matters might wind up being the self-undoing, or trying to gain power over somebody or something. Now, another thing too, I know a lot of you don't want me to say the dreaded D word, but you know I'm going to anyway. In some cases, this could manifest in an actual literal death of an aunt or an uncle, someone that might be prominent in your private life at this time. This could be about very powerful hidden adversaries, or even the ability in some cases to for them to be eliminated in your life. I'm not saying by killing them, but what I'm saying is that they may, it might just be about conquering them one way or another, and finding out maybe those that people that might be posing as your friends, in the ones that are really are truly your hidden adversaries at this time. So anyway, and you might feel like maybe your private life might be feeling destroyed at this time, and it might be a time where you're trying to get more power connected with it. So anyway, next thing up is, and it could also be a transformation spiritually for some people at this time as well. Anyway, next thing up. The North Node will still be in Leo, so the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. Now, we're talking about the North Node in transit. This could often be about issues that one may have to confront or address. Now, in some cases, it could be about confronting perhaps an arrogant or domineering, bombastic, overbearing, even flamboyant significant other. It could be someone you're having an important connection with, or even a grandmother in some cases, or even some kind of open adversary. Now, it might be a time where you may be directed to be more extravagant regarding legal or court matters, or even being more magnanimous and generous in connection with others at this time. And also, it could be a time too, where you might do something in connection like a business partnership that could be Leo related, whether it could be some with cardiology, something with theater, acting, or film production, some kind of work with children, or something of a creative nature, something that could be Leo-like at this time, something you might have a lot of heart in, so to speak, or something connected with entertainment. So anyway, next thing up is the Black Moon Lilith will be in Aquarius still, so the 1st house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, in some cases, this could manifest maybe being one's own worst enemy at this time. It could be in some case, when you're talking about the Black Moon Lilith, this could be about really a formidable adversary that can appear. This could be an Aquarius Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply one that embodies Aquarius-like characteristics. It could be someone that maybe you knew from early childhood, or somebody that might have figured strongly perhaps in your own outlook on life. Black Moon Lilith could also be about what could put one in a strong state of trepidation or fear. And this could be just about, so we're talking about the 1st house, it could be just in general about you maybe being seen as overly conventional, orthodox, boring, or monotonous, or maybe, and even losing just your general freedom and independence to kind of just do what you want, whether it's with your body, yourself, in general. And at the same time, too, when we're talking about the Black Moon Lilith, it could be about what something that you don't want to come out of the bag, so to speak, but may wind up coming out. It could be, some kind of unveiling or revelation. It could be something unusual about yourself in general. It could be some unusual, especially if this is actually the literal 1st house in one's natal chart, something connected, unusual with the physical body, something Aquarius, like something with the ankles or the shins, perhaps, and two, or maybe something with your outlook on life, or something unusual with your appearance just in general that maybe you were trying to hide or conceal but you weren't, but somehow it comes out anyway. So anyway, next thing up is Chiron will be in Aries as far as September goes, from the 1st until the 26th. So the 3rd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Well, Chiron, of course, could be about emotional wounds. Sometimes it's physical wounds. This could be, in some cases, perhaps going through some kind of perhaps emotional suffering connected with maybe acrimonious, contentious situations, perhaps with siblings, cousins, or neighbors. It could be about lack of initiative and enterprise in your communications in general, being overly passive, or maybe being overly impulsive and impetuous in them as well, such as being overly presumptuous, and of course feeling some repercussions because of this. And it could be lack of assertiveness and aggressiveness in matters connected with your communications with neighbors, with siblings, and maybe even someone from your early education as well. And also some kind of impulsiveness, perhaps, or overly aggressive driving. We're talking about 3rd house could be connected with short journeys. There might be maybe some accident because of this aggressive energy. But at the same time, remember that Chiron is the wounded healer. So in ways that you might be having difficulty and struggles with Chiron and Aries and the 3rd house, you may be able to help others out with dealing with comparable situations, and do so with a lot of Aries like initiative, enterprise, aggressiveness, and assertiveness, and courage and fortitude. Last but not least, Chiron will be in Pisces as far as September goes, from the 26th until the 30th. So the 2nd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, one way this could manifest is that you may be dealing with, it could be some kind of deception and duplicity in monetary matters. You might be going through some emotional wounds and suffering connected with this. There might be some kind of financial fraud that you may have succumbed to, and maybe embarked on some financial endeavor without really seeing all the details. You may be dealing with some kind of, sadly, it could be about some dissolving or dissipation of your self-esteem and self-worth, or the dissolving and dissipation of resources and funds and possessions at this time. Maybe being overly passive in terms of trying to generate income and maybe increase your revenue at this time. And it could be maybe you might be going through some emotional suffering and some kind of emotional wounds connected maybe with dealing with somebody at the place you generate money with, or someone prominent in your resources and possessions that was rather duplicitous and deceptive. But at the same time, again, remember that Chiron is the wounded healer. So in the ways you might be going through some suffering and struggling with Chiron in Pisces and the 2nd house, you may be able to help others deal with comparable situations and problems, and do so with a lot of Pisces like empathy, compassion, self-sacrifice, and perhaps even idealism. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Aquarius September 2018 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time, where I'm going to talk about the natal chart of David Katz. As many of you may know, he was the shooter, sadly, at the Jacksonville, Florida landing, I believe, in the where you had that Madden game tournament going on. So sad, and it was a mass shooting. I would say, unfortunately, I believe 2 people died, but a number of other people got injured, sadly. Anyway, people, 2 things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.